Is there ever a time to not take photos? That's a tough question for any photographer, especially one that might make a living out of their photography. But that's a question that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Maybe even a little bit too much. Welcome back to Cologne for another video. Another video of me rambling about photography and my general thoughts that I have over the course of a week. So I thought about this one when I took a little single day trip to a nearby city with my fiance. And naturally enough, I brought my camera gear with me, and we got there. We got into the hotel and I started to unload all of my luggage. And as I grabbed my camera out of my bag, I started to think, should I even take my camera out here, or should I just leave it there and enjoy these few hours that I have like walking around the city? And yeah, I decided to do just that. I left it there and I decided to make this a chill break where I basically just relax and enjoy food and beer and all of the other stuff that normal people do when they go to a city. That moment got me thinking that maybe not every single moment needs to be captured. Maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of value in setting aside some time for being present without your camera, and also the opposite, like being present with it and going out to intentionally shoot photographs. And the more I've thought about it since, the more I've realized that that's actually been on my mind quite a bit lately. I know this is pretty much in direct contrast to what I said last week about just loving going to a new city and exploring, but it's a little different when I'm not alone. I'm a little bit more conscious of also giving my attention to that other person, right? Sometimes having a camera with you almost feels like you have two things to do at once. Or else a classic feeling that I'm sure a lot of photographers struggle with is like feeling that you're that person that's just slowing everybody else down because you're stopping to take photos every 5 minutes, and it's just really annoying for everybody else. But I've been feeling this more and more recently, and maybe it comes from like modern content culture where every minute we have to be always capturing something or like creating content, and maybe that feeling has like been creeping into my way of thinking about things a little bit more. And I'm thinking that maybe there's something to be said up for taking a break from that, and also when you are shooting, you're out shooting a little bit more intentionally. So as I said, instead of bringing my big camera out of my backpack in that hotel, I left it there. And I decided that when I got back to Cologne the day after, I was going to go out and shoot a little bit more intentionally. Good morning, folks. I probably should have been here early if I'm being totally honest. It's very bright now already. I think this could have been super nice this morning, but it's summer and I don't fancy waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning for sunrise. Basically where I am is like a little park in my local, very close to my home. I was here a few weeks ago for the first time, and I was thinking that it's actually really nice here. So hopefully it's enough to get some nice photos this morning. Basically what we have here is they have one of these like millennium forest things, I think that's what they're called, where they've planted lots of trees from all over the world, and it's really cool. And they kind of stand out and they look very much, very different or something. They stand out anyway, they look really cool. And when I was walking here a few weeks ago, I was thinking this could be really nice, could be some photos here. So yeah, I'm just out and about to try and maybe find some of those photos. I think I can come back on a better day when the weather and the conditions are cool. Like, I think this place could look really cool on maybe like a misty morning or at sunrise or something like that. So maybe a little later in the year, this could be really cool. But yeah, like really the main purpose of this morning is just to get out and about and to have something to shoot with some intention. The temptation to bring your camera with you absolutely everywhere all the time is very real. And it gets even worse when you start a YouTube channel, let me tell you that. Or at least it is for me. And probably for good reason. I mean, some of the best photos that I've ever captured have been in moments like this, where I've just brought my camera along with me for the journey, or for some trip or something, or just hanging out with friends. And I've been taking photos while we were just doing stuff. And these photos are great memories, but they also really suit my type of photography. Very much natural, very much free-flowing, capturing that type of feeling, all the usual stuff that I talk about a lot. But recently I've been thinking more and more about the benefits of separating the two. Creating some time for intentional photography, and also creating some time without the camera. Like without the distraction of always having to take photos.
I don't like to have the distraction of the camera.
Giving yourselves tasks like this, like what I'm doing today, out in this little trip in this little forest in my locality, or maybe something else, like just going for a walk with the sole purpose of taking photos. Been doing that a little bit more lately as well, and it's fun. Not only fun, but it allows you to like focus on your photography a little bit more, to focus on the little things, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, to have a specific subject and think about how you're going to shoot it. How are you going to tell that story? How are you going to frame it? How are you going to use the available light at your disposal? And by adding little quirks into this, you can make it more or less challenging depending on what you want. It's just a really good way to, I mean, one, get better, but two, also have more fun, I guess. For a while, I think I had forgot about that. Or not that I'd really forgotten about it. I think I always kept a certain level of that going, but I just placed less and less importance in it over time. Especially because lately, like in the last few years, I have a full-time job now. I don't do a whole lot of photography for work anymore. So, like, I think I placed less and less of my time on that intentional side of it. Like, it's easy to be intentional when you have photo shoots to do every week, or when you have to plan something for a client. But if you're just like a hobbyist or you're just taking photos for fun, it's very easy to just fall into the easy, like the comfort zone of just bringing your camera with you. And like I said, not a bad thing. That's totally great 80% of the time, whatever. But what I'm saying is I got too comfortable with that and I wasn't doing it enough. And I think there's also the flip side of that, where I wasn't leaving the camera at home enough either. And I was maybe like a little bit too distracted when I was out doing things with my fiance, or when I was out hanging out with friends. You're too interested in trying to capture a photo or making videos for YouTube or whatever it is. But it's been freeing for me to push back on that a little bit and ask, like, do I really need to be shooting right now? And it's also been very beneficial to be shooting intentionally when I am, and to be just putting a bit more thought into it all around. So this is turning out to be a lot more fun than I had expected. I'm trying to capture like what's unique about each one in this kind of weird setting. Like this is a park, not really a forest. There's a little bit of forest, but like not a lot. And some of them kind of stand out. They kind of all look cool in this park, and it's trying to find this line between what's boring and what's not, I guess. Because I guess when you're photographing trees, they can be pretty boring. Maybe it's boring to you, I don't know, but to me this is like kind of a really little fun exercise. So I recommend doing something like this maybe. I do realize not like this is a pretty unique example here, so maybe this is not applicable to everybody, but maybe it is possible to find like something small in your daily life, in your locality, whatever it is, and just make like an intentional goal of going to photograph that, or something unique about that. Could be a unique park that you have like this, could be something cool in your town. Maybe there's a bunch of artists or artwork that just have different sculptures around your town or whatever. It might take a little bit of creativity to think of the initial idea, but once you do, I think it's a really good exercise to get out with this little bit of intentionality and get photographing. Now, does that mean that you should never bring a camera with you when you're hanging out with friends? Absolutely not. I can't stress enough what I said earlier. This advice is only for creating some time, not all the time. Sometimes bring your camera with you, it's great. You can leave the big camera at home and you can still find ways to capture little moments or little enjoyable parts of whatever trip you're on or whatever you're doing. And something that's been helping me a lot with this very thing lately has been this little camera. Yes, so I bought a film camera a few weeks back after years and years and years of just not bothering with it, to be totally honest. But I found this camera for 35 euros. I found out afterwards that it is a little bit broken, but that's fine. But I just want to use this camera as an example of what I'm talking about. Because what this has done for me is that it's been this kind of like a detached way to take photographs. So I found that I've been able to bring this little camera with me on kind of personal trips or moments when I don't want my big camera to be there. I don't want it to be about taking photos, but I still have this little camera just slung across my waist, like by my side, and I can just pull it out and take a photo of some moment that I want to capture. Yeah, it's not as fast, and I've messed up just about all of the photographs that I've taken on them so far, but it's still been really nice to just capture it. And then I have it, like I also print those photos when I get them developed, so I'm more likely to do that too, which is a good thing and maybe a whole other story. But also, I can't look at the photographs afterwards because there's no LCD screen. I don't obsess about it, and what I find is I tend to just shoot and forget about it until I get it developed in a few weeks later. And it's been just a really great way of kind of finding that halfway point of the two, where I want time where I'm not shooting, but I also don't want to just completely give up on having a camera with me, because having just a little bit of a way to capture some kind of memories. Because at the end of the day, that's something that I just love doing. Okay, so what are some of the technical things that I'm thinking about here when you're photographing something as potentially boring as trees? So like I said, I want to find what's unique about each one, right? So I'm thinking about it from that angle. And every tree kind of has a different texture, a different shape, and generally like the way their branches are just all, they're all unique in some kind of way. So, like for example, this tree here in front of me, it's pretty interesting how like tall and narrow it is. And at the same time, like has these like really slender branches. So I want to try and take a photo that's like gonna exaggerate that or really gonna show that in the photo. Another example might be the color. Like I took a photo way back at the beginning with these like really dark leaves. And of course that stands out amongst the surroundings because, I mean, black leaves, all the rest of them have green, right? What else we got here? So I can show you. So we have this big one, where is it? This one here, this one like that. So when I was photographing that, again, like that just like really looks, the combination of the leaves, these like really like fine leaves, and just how like tall and like, I don't know, like it kind of moves to one side and is tall and just kind of really spreads out. So it looks very, very impressive. So I'm trying to capture a photo that exaggerates that as well. This is not an advertisement for film photography or me telling you to get into film photography. There might be other ways of doing this. For some other people, that might be just taking photos on your phone. If you have the discipline to take out your phone and take a photo and put it away afterwards and get back into the moment that you're sharing with other people, great. Maybe it could be a small point and shoot. A lot of people use like nice point and shoot cameras for this same thing. There could be many ways to do it, but I've just found this like a particularly nice one for myself. But the point of all of this is the same. Find time for photography and find time without it. your photography will thank you for it. It's something that I've neglected for a long time, but as you can see from this little trip to this park that I did, there are clear benefits for going to shoot specific things, specific projects with specific purposes. Have a goal, find a story, and find the photos that you can't see. Maybe these photos won't end up in your portfolio, they might not be world beaters, but you're still going to have fun and they're still going to be really beneficial. And your mental health is going to thank you for it too. To find time without photography, to just be in the moment, to be sharing moments with the closest people around you, eating food, drinking beer, having fun, laughing, all of that. Simply taking things in. And you might even find that in these moments you'll think of photographs or find photographs that you might come back to later, and they might end up being the best of all. And like I say, the rest of the time, that other 80% of the time, well, you can do both. Bring your camera with you, have fun, capture memories, do whatever it is. All I'm saying is that you find a little bit of time with the camera and a little bit of time without it.